we're in the Bitcoin gold rush era. And it started in January of 2024, and it will run till about November of 2034. It's a 10-year. And the reason how many people know what happened in November of 2034? It's an important date, you know. If you pull Clark Moody's dashboard, you'll see that. In November of 2034, 99% of all the Bitcoin will have been mined. And the last 1% comes out over the next 100 years. So for all practical purposes, stock to flow becomes irrelevant. The stock to flow ratio of Bitcoin is infinity in 20. It's within the tolerance of just random hourly trading of the asset. So it becomes noise. And so you have about 42 quarters, somewhere between 40 and 42 quarters. And if you look at that 40-quarter period, at the beginning of the gold rush, no bank could custody Bitcoin, no institutional investor could buy Bitcoin, no Wall Street trading firm, no investment company could handle Bitcoin, and it was unclear whether that ever would happen. That was a binary. And when those spot ETFs were approved, that created a fire or an avalanche. The genie's out of the bottle. It doesn't matter who's elected president next. It doesn't matter who's the next head of the SEC. It doesn't matter. And no politician's opinion, no banker opinion, no regulator opinion matters after that date. That was the most consequential thing that kicked off the gold rush.
The Bitcoin gold rush era has now begun and will last for the next 10 years. Over the next 10 years, 99% of all Bitcoin will have been mined. The last 1% will be mined over the next 100 years. This means that you have 10 years to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. This is the latest message from Michael Saylor. Recently, Saylor spoke on the current state of Bitcoin and its future trajectory. He compared the present moment to the Bitcoin gold rush era, which began in January 2024 and will continue until November 2034. During this period, Saylor emphasizes the importance of accumulating Bitcoin as possible, thus highlighting its scarcity as a key driver of future value. Selling Bitcoin prematurely will mean missing out on life-changing wealth. Have a listen to the rest of this video where Saylor outlines some of the key reasons why you should never sell Bitcoin. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel.
Right now you can't custody, but there's a big battle afoot on Capitol Hill. That battle will take place. Bitcoin will win that battle. Then you'll see banks custody, then you'll see 1, then you'll see 10, then you'll see 100, then you'll see 1,000. Likewise, there's famous analysts. You can name the analysts that cover Bitcoin today. Len Alden, Chris Kuiper. There'll be a day when there'll be 200. You won't be able to name them all, right? There'll be a day when Bitcoin ETFs have already blasted past gold, and then Bitcoin ETFs trade more than the S&P index ETFs. And there'll be a day, I believe, when Bitcoin ETFs will have more capital than SPY or the S&P index. And on that day, the people at Vanguard will say, oops, I guess all the money just shifted out of equity. But that day won't come tomorrow. It'll take many, many quarters. By the time we get to 2034, I think you can say the high growth institutional adoption phase of Bitcoin has now moved to just the growth phase.